Hello. Okay, we're recording again.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
You can't?
No.
Oh, I can really hear you.
Can you hear yourself?
No.
Holy crap. Technical difficulties.
I know.
Okay, this is the first episode of No Small Thing, and we're really excited.
Very pumped.
And my name is Scott Gronholtz,
And I'm Macy Mooney.
and this is a low-key, low-stakes description of our idea for a podcast.
Low-key.
And so we're going to talk about where our idea came from and why we're doing this.
And how we met.
And how
probably.
We met. Yeah.
Because that's when we probably first realized we could do something weird like this.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell the first story. So we worked together at a church, and when we first started working together, Macy spent an afternoon sending me clips of 21 Pilots videos.
In the middle of a real life staff meeting. I remember that
I wasn't going to say that part, but you said it.
I said it. For future employers, not how I would act. Although, I don't know. I sent you 20 videos of 21 Pilots.
This is your future employment.
Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah, no, I remember that day. And you watch them all, and nobody watches them all. Nobody does that when I send them an email or I'm like, I like this band. And you were like, oh, I'll care about them. I'll read about them.
Well, so I've been doing that my whole life. I send people all the videos or all the podcast episodes or all the episodes of a show. And most people, if not all people, don't watch the thing and respond. And I actually very much pride myself on watching all the things and responding. So I was so excited to honor you by watching all of the videos. But it wasn't even hard. I enjoyed it.
Well, yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
it's 21 Pilots.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, true. I'm not a huge 21 Pilots fan, but I really appreciated the passion.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been someone who have been overly enthusiastic about things. And I try and share the things with my friends, and they're like, cool, this is cool. But nobody really, gets pumped like I get pumped. So, I don't know. You kind of got pumped like I got pumped. And you get pumped like that for silly things, too. Like Kendrick.
That's not silly.
That's not silly. You're right. It's not silly. But Kendrick is your thing.
Yeah. And then I remember also once we kind of had that established, one of my big passions in life is Steven Universe. And we brought you to our house. You were there for something, and we showed you some episodes.
I think I was there just to watch Steven Universe. Yeah. But I was not that into it that night.
But I had faith in your
my fandom
ability to get into it, and it proved true.
It did prove true. That's the thing is, if someone gets me into something, usually they kind of like something, and then I start watching it, and then I like it significantly more than they ever did, and I know way too much about it, and they're like, I only kind of liked it. So.
But that's the key. It wasn't significantly more.
That's true, because you love Steven Universe just as much. Exactly.
What were some other things we started bonding over, aside from that? Steven Universe, 21 Pilots. We went on a mission trip together, and we played music for the kids in our van.
Yeah, the whole time.
A lot. And I played you some Kanye stuff that you responded well to.
This is true. I don't know if I played anything that you super responded that well to.
I think you played me some Sleeping at Last stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
You played... It was 5 days of straight up Macy playlists. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly.
It's true. I think that's also how we mostly bonded, was making playlists. Mm-hmm. Which we'll hopefully talk about in the future, is making playlists and the art of it.
So the idea for the podcast was everything is interesting.
But then there's no small thing. So there's no small thing. Everything.
Well, that sounds better.
No small thing sounds better, but I also think it makes more sense. There's not one nothing's too small to not be talked about, or like nothing doesn't have, like everything can have meaning, even if it's a tiny little thing. It can have just as much meaning as like what we consider big. And we can talk about it forever.
And I think I'll take something that I'm aggressively not interested in just to make my point, or our point, which is sports. I don't really follow sports, but if I had the right person in here that was passionate about it and wanted to tell me about sports, I would be interested. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think if I would be. I guess I probably could get behind it, depending, because that's the thing is I love like Serena Williams.
Okay, yeah, see?
Sports. Yeah. That's tennis. Tennis is one of
But
the
if you had somebody in here that was like, grew up, well, here's an example. My wife, Marissa, grew up in Chicago and is a Chicago Cubs fan and has explained to me the whole history and mythology of the Chicago Cubs. And we've been to Wrigley Field. And once you know and have been exposed to the history of the Chicago Cubs, you have to be a fan. Not a fan like.
Are you a fan of the Chicago Cubs?
This is the thing is like I'm not a fan in the sense that I would follow them, or that I'd watch games or understand trivia, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, actually that makes sense, because a year ago I wouldn't have ever thought that I would be able to talk about WWE the way I can talk about WWE. And that's technically, I think, sports.
Yes. Well,
I don't know. It kind of borderlines on just acting and entertainment.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you take anything and like really think about it, nothing's not thoughtful. Even sports, which I can like easily be like, oh, sports, but it's thoughtful. People who do it are thoughtful. I used to do so many sports.
But I think I took the thing just to prove the point that anything could be interesting.
That's true.
You know? I think somebody that has passion for something and was in here talking to us could make it compelling.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas the way I experience the world is that most people find most things uninteresting. And that's what's sad to me sometimes.
I would agree. I think people don't get as excited about things as they could. Mm-hmm. It's more fun to get excited about something.
Yeah. Yeah. No small thing.
There's no small thing.
And, okay, so we had the idea for the podcast.
Yeah.
And I've done that several times in my life where I've thrown out, like very, very non-committally, like,
this sounds fun.
This would be a fun thing. And we did that several times.
So many times. And I have a similar, I would say, we're both like idea people. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll just say ideas and, maybe it'll follow up, but probably not.
So then Matthew was the one that said we should do the podcast.
Yeah.
He helped us.
Maddie is the best.
And he made it seem real.
He did make it seem real. He was like, are you going to actually do that? I live with Matthew, it should be known. And he was like, are you actually going to do this thing with Scott? We could do it. And I was like, I don't know. Probably not. And then we did it. Here we are.
He sent us a joint text. Mm-hmm. And then several steps have happened, like coffee dates and purchases of microphones and other things
and
that
like
have made it
getting
seem real.
over fears of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is our early experiences of fandom. What's your earliest experience?
I don't know. I was trying to think about this earlier today of what it was. And I can't think of anything specific when I was like a kid, but I think that potentially my Hume Lake experience was my first experience of like true insane passion for something.
Wow.
Hume Lake, if you don't know what it is, it's like this huge evangelical Christian camp that I went to starting in 6th grade and all through high school. And it was like just 1 week. And I became obsessed with just the concept of camp and the games at camp and the experience of camp. And I don't know if fandom's the right word for it, but I like just became such a fan of it.
I think it was. When I hear you talk about it, it sounds like fandom.
It's weird. Yeah. It's like borderline idolatry.
Or cultish.
Yeah, or cultish. Honestly, it's sketchy. But we've moved past. We're healing from it. But no, that was when I would like just take it to such an extreme level. Like my friends liked it, but then one of my best friends, Haley, she loved it just as much as I did. And we were like, oh my gosh, like this is everything. To the point where, yeah, we like made weird music videos just to try and get the staff to notice us. And we had countdowns starting from like day 300. It's embarrassing.
Wow.
It's embarrassing.
Oh.
It's crazy. It's shocking.
Yeah.
So that was like my first just like giving everything and like just thinking so much about something for so long.
That was your first?
No, probably not. Oh, I mean like
music
Stevie
or something?
Nicks.
Oh, Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
That's young?
Yeah, when I was like 5, I was like obsessed with
Oh.
Stevie Nicks. I would
That gives you so much credibility.
yeah, it was like I mean, I grew up with like I don't know. My parents, it makes so much sense. Their demographic, like they're just like, oh yeah, Fleetwood Mac was always playing in the house.
Yeah, but I was listening to like really cheesy Christian versions of like Stevie Nicks. Like I was listening to like Michael W. Smith
Yeah.
and DC Talk and stuff like that. Were you listening to that stuff?
No, I didn't grow up with a like Christian family.
Stevie Nicks.
So I would like dress up as Stevie Nicks, and I had a tambourine, and I would like wear all black and walk around like I was Stevie Nicks because she's a queen.
That's so legit.
Yeah. So that was my first fandom, I guess. And then I was like obsessed with Hilary Duff. But I don't know.
That's a sad leap though from Stevie Nicks to Hilary Duff.
I 100%
No small
disagree. I 100% disagree.
We'll have to have a whole episode on Hilary Duff.
Hilary
You can
Duff
explain her to me.
was an actress and a singer.
Was it Alex Mack or something? What was her name? What was the show?
Lizzie McGuire.
Lizzie McGuire.
Alex Mack, you're kidding me.
Alex
Lizzie
Mack.
McGuire. This is the best
Is there a show
ever.
called Alex Mack?
I've never heard of that. I've never heard that name before.
Look it up. Look it up.
No. Lizzie McGuire. And it was the best. She had this little cartoon character. I loved her. I like had a big fat crush on her, to be honest. So there's that. My room was covered in posters
That's
of Hilary
also
Duff.
a ripoff of an 80s movie.
What?
The cartoon.
Really?
Talking. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know. But, okay, so what was your first fandom?
I wrote this in our notes.
Roald Dahl?
Well, no, my biggest thing was Michael Jackson. And it's still interesting for me to think about because I grew up mostly listening to Christian music, but like for some reason Michael Jackson was very accepted. So first of all, for listeners, say
For our
I'm
listeners
38,
out there.
you're 23.
Yeah.
So there's a big age gap. So the Michael Jackson Thriller video came out when I was about 6 or 7.
That's scary.
Yeah. And it was scary, but it was mostly a natural word to use is thrilling. It was thrilling.
Oh, my God.
It was. That just came to me. So here's one thing that's really interesting in terms of our modern culture. Like, you guys grew up with YouTube, right?
Probably like when I was in 5th grade is when I started watching YouTube.
Okay. Well, let's just
Charlie
paint the
bit my
picture. Let's
finger.
just paint the picture for anybody that may ever listen to this. There are
Paint that
4
picture.
people in this room: Sydney, Matthew, and Macy. Because I keep saying you guys.
It's Scott.
And me. So things came on television, and that happened once, and you didn't know. You had to maybe find out that it was happening in the TV guide, and then. So Michael Jackson came out this video after Thriller, so it was like maybe 5 years later or something like that. He came out with Bad, and so his big video premiered on TV, and there was literally somebody that recorded that video on a VHS in our neighborhood,
And
the
y'all.
VHS got passed around the neighborhood so we could watch the video. And I remember when it finally got to me, I hoarded that tape, and I watched that video probably like 30 times, no joke. And then I had my whole wall in my bedroom plastered with Michael Jackson stuff.
Wow, I didn't know this.
Yeah, I was obsessed, and I learned all the dance moves. And
Oh
anybody
my
that knew me at that young age,
I wish.
knows, like, associates me with Michael Jackson. So like, if I see somebody from that season of my life, they're like, "Do your Michael Jackson moves?" I'm like, "Oh, I can't
is
do
so
that. I can't do
funny.
that anymore." And
Can
I
you
would not do
moonwalk?
that anymore. I could probably moonwalk. That's about
Wow.
to the extent of my.
I've tried to moonwalk too many times. Can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. Can't do a moonwalk.
But I feel like is that where you got to like music videos? Because I feel like you're obsessed with music videos.
100%. Yeah, Michael Jackson was so known for music videos, and it became a big event. So like, Bad was a big event, Thriller was a big event, and then he did Black or White. That was his next, and that was a huge event. And you had to tune in to television, and there would be no watch it later. It was like you watched it, and if you wanted to watch it later, you recorded it on your VHS.
I had to do that as a kid.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Don't
Yes,
pretend
I
you don't.
did.
You recorded it on a VHS.
I recorded Survivor on a VHS.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe
When
it.
I was, yes, oh my gosh. I started watching Survivor when I was 5, and that's how we would watch it. We would record it, always, on a VHS. I think until I was about 10, I was recording stuff on VHSs.
So what year would that have been?
I don't know. But
15 years ago?
yeah,
16 years ago?
I was still my
VHS?
VHS. I know what it is, and I've done
believe
that. I know
Did you
this.
guys have VHS?
I grew up with VHS. I never recorded anything on it.
You've had to like rewind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't have like a
Wow. Okay, there it is.
You're not as old as you think.
All right. I believe it.
Yeah.
I'm not as old as I think. I'm literally as old as I think. I think I'm 38.
Therefore, I am.
I think that's the origin story of something that was probably already existed, like a propensity for fandom.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Michael Jackson did it, but I knew when I happened upon somebody like Michael Jackson. I wrote down Roald Dahl, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
I would want to go all in.
Right. I think that's the thing. It's like if you discover something you like, you want to go the distance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever want to just, if I like a song or I like an artist, I'm like, I have to listen to the whole album. I have to know about the artist. I have to find their Wikipedia. I have to get all their information. Just listening isn't enough. Of course not.
Yeah, and isn't that the weird thing? Is like, I've known so many people, and there's literally I can't think of anybody else that I know that does that. Isn't that weird?
I feel like I know a few people, but not people who do it to the extent that probably you do it or that I do it.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I feel like you have to know the artist.
You've
You
got
have
to.
to know the people.
You've got to.
It's a necessary thing.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. It's like I'll play a song for somebody, and then I'll try to go into the backstory and all the history of this person, and you can tell like they're wanting to change the subject pretty quickly.
Their eyes are like over it. You're like, no, but this is really important and it makes this exact thing important. Yeah.
Or if we have a special experience where I play somebody a song that they like, or a clip or something, what I will do is, which is what you did, is I'll say, oh, they liked that so much. So I'll start to send them all the material the next day.
Oh,
and they
too
know
much.
to respond.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
too
shoot.
much. You got to give
You
a
don't wanna
break.
know all this?
I think you also have to kind of discover it on your own, on some level. Like you have to decide that you want to do the distance, especially with like an artist. But I also think in a profound experience of like, let me show you this artist, and if you listen to someone with a group of people or you're in the right mood, like that could also get you into diving deep.
Well, I would say like one of my most rewarding playing experiences was playing you to the Friends song.
Yeah.
By Bon Iver and Francis in the Lights.
That's a good song. It's like our sentimental
Something was going on
song.
with you guys that night, but I do think that was like the ideal response. Like,
Yeah, we-
out of control excited.
We love that song
Yeah,
now.
that's so good.
We loved it then and we still love it. I think Survivor's another thing I was such a huge fan of.
You and I differ on that, and that will be something interesting to tackle in the future, is reality television.
I can get behind it.
I can
for
only
sure.
do one season.
It's-
I can do one season of American Idol, one season of Bachelor, one season of Survivor. I can't do, because it's so repetitive to me.
It's different people each time. And
But
there's
it's the same
things
stuff.
change. The things change. The people are different. The point of reality TV is the personalities, not the actual premise. In my opinion.
I agree with your point, and
You don't have to like it. I just think Survivor's one of the best
I
shows
agree
ever.
and like it. Maybe I need to give Survivor another chance.
You do. Have you watched season 1 of Survivor recently? No.
Well, remember I told you I knew Dirk.
Yes,
Yeah.
I forgot that you knew Dirk. Season 1 is, now I'm just going to talk about Survivor.
Go ahead. This will be a preview of things to come.
I hadn't listened to or watched season 1 in forever since I was like a little kid. And it's just so interesting. Survivor's relatively progressive for the time. Also, Jeff Probst went to my undergrad. He went to SPO.
That's my undergrad.
Our undergrad. I don't want to know how specific I should be.
What is it that you love about Survivor then? What is progressive about it?
Oh, well, that was just because they really went into Richard Hatch, which I thought was interesting, who's publicly gay and really, I don't know. There's just a lot of, I don't know how to describe it as progressive. I don't think it is as much anymore. Although they always want to try and put people in different social situations and put people from different backgrounds together. And you're kind of forced to live together. So there's something about that inadvertently is people being educated about other people, which I think is cool. And having to learn to live with other people. Survivor is a game of wits,
Oh boy.
a game of
Oh, boy.
surviving.
This
I've
is good
always-
stuff. Talking to your microphone when you say that. That's good.
I've always really wanted to be on Survivor, but I've like recorded
Wow.
interviews
Wow.
to get on the show, but
truth.
never actually sent them in.
Is this your official audition tape?
No, this is not. But I have done it. I have like sat in front of a camera and been like, I should be on Survivor because of this, and never sent it in.
Wow. Well, that would be a Patreon thing
What?
to show that video.
No, it's
Yes.
it's really
Does
embarrassing.
it exist somewhere in the universe?
I don't think so. I think it was on my old phone. I would
She's
not.
backpedaling.
It's
It
embarrassing.
exists. Find
It's
it.
embarrassing. I would not.
I'll say one more thing about fandom. It's not necessarily fandom, but it's something that I know is like similar to what we talk about. But my grandpa was a huge music fan, and he was really big into listening. And
Oh, yeah.
he would have me over to his house for like a sleepover, and he'd call it like a listening party. And he would like plan out a whole evening of songs. We'd have dinner, and then we would sit in his living room and listen to music.
That's like the best night ever.
And I loved it. I really, truly loved it. I was never bored. Usually it was like classical music or jazz, but I just loved it. And he was so big into like, we don't talk, we're listening. I know this is going to be very serious all of a sudden, but like we had his memorial service last summer. And it was really cool. Like all the cousins who are all about the same age went and had dinner at one of my cousins' houses. And very naturally, somebody suggested that we like listen to a song together and lay on the ground, because that's what he'd have us do sometimes to like appreciate the music. And we all did it. There's like 7, 8, 9 of us, and we all like laid on the ground and listened to a song.
That's such a special moment.
Yeah. So that resonates with me. Like I'll oftentimes say like, listen to this song, let me turn it on, and I'll play a song for somebody in my car.
Right.
And I'll say, this song is so special to me, it's so important. And I'll turn it on, and it'll be like in the first 20 seconds, the person will turn over to me and be like, so how are you doing?
Oh,
like,
that's the worst.
We're listening to a song right now. You got to listen to the lyrics and the vibe, and you've got to pay attention.
Yeah, that's the worst. Especially when you're like, you have so much expectation. You're like, this song is the best song ever, and you expect them to respond that way.
Yeah.
Can't have expectations.
Let's see. Talk about some of the ideas we have in terms of topics for future shows. So, what my idea was like, we'd read our list.
Okay.
Do you want to read it, or should I read it?
I can read it.
Okay. Yeah, I think you just free form read it.
Okay. So, podcast ideas. Fiona Apple, of course.
So these are whole episodes. We'd
Whole
spend
episodes
an
on-
episode talking about these things.
Yes. Okay. Kendrick, Kanye West. I don't know about that one. Beyonce, 21 Pilots, of course. The Enneagram, Steven Universe, Avatar. I haven't finished Avatar, so.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, yeah. And
Clarity.
I think I probably should watch Korra, too. We probably would talk about both. Peter Rollins, Wild Wild Country. We have to do that. Christianity. We'll probably talk about a lot of random Christianity things, which is going to be wild.
That'd be great.
The art of playlist making, being creative, feminism, WWE, Broad City, Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey. Social media, quotes, like our favorite quotes. Parties. What do you mean? You mean by parties of like creating a perfect party?
Yeah, like that Todd Glass video I showed you.
Okay.
Yeah. Or my my complicated feelings about parties in general. Because mostly, if somebody invited me to a party, I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parenting. Scott's a parent. Scott has 2
I am
kids.
a parent.
I was parented. Not a parent. Therapy. A cook-off episode. Who knows?
Wow.
ASMR. That's a good one. Liminal space. Ooh, I forgot about that.
That's a good one.
Song lyrics. White privilege. Different churches. Interesting. SPO. Seattle Pacific. That's where we went to college. Music genres. Childhood toys.
Wow.
We have so many ideas.
I don't know what childhood toys would be about, because I don't really.
We had a conversation for like 25 minutes last week
What did I
about
say?
childhood toys.
Did I say
And
something?
we were talking for so long about it and said we should make a podcast episode about this. We're
What?
talking about it for so long.
What was it? What did I have?
It was mostly me talking about
Oh.
all my childhood toys. But it was still interesting.
I had childhood toys. I don't remember if I have very many feelings about that, but
I think that if we were to start to talk about, you'd realize that I was more than anything just really realizing how much my childhood toys were so, what's the word I'm looking for? Gendered. Like so gendered.
Okay.
And what
That's
that meant
a good
for
topic.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to talk about feminism.
Gendered.
They were
childhood
super
toys.
gendered.
Yeah.
I had like a kitchen
Mm-hmm.
and dolls and things like that. Not me. Joanna Newsom, the best. Beach House, the concept of gender.
The concept.
We have to do that. Color. I'm really excited if we do a whole episode on color, by the way.
My curiosity is piqued. What is that?
Like, I have so many thoughts on that.
Okay.
Style/hair. Sustainability, global warming, music
Wow.
videos, and then all the isms.
All the isms.
Ageism, ableism, beautyism, racism, classism, but especially ageism.
Wow. Yeah.
How to be a good listener, especially to music.
Yeah.
Annie Dillard,
Those are the ones I added.
Paul Tillich, James Cone, and cringy
Cringy
lyrics. That's good. Cringy lyrics is a good one. Probably best lyrics and cringiest lyrics.
Yeah. There are some cringy lyrics out there.
Yeah, but for those listeners out there,
These are our two listeners.
our two listeners
In
here,
real
anyone
time.
listening, do you have any suggestions, things you want us to talk about? There's no small thing.
There's no small thing. Well, if you looked at that list, I mean, that's just like the tip of the iceberg, truly. Like,
It's truly, every single day I think of a different idea that we could do.
the list represents a random assortment of all the things that intrigue us and interest us.
And I think this is like the broadest podcast idea I've ever heard of. Whenever anyone's like, what's the podcast? I'm like, there's no small thing. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, there's no small thing.
It's
So
gonna
we
take
could
shape.
talk about anything. So,
But I want to say this, though. Okay, first of all, Knox and Jamie from the Popcast are our big inspiration.
number one inspiration.
And they have an umbrella of like a topic, which is pop culture.
Right.
But it is, even under that umbrella, anything and everything. Like,
It's true.
They cover so many different topics. And so, like, we just don't have, like, pop culture umbrella, but we're also covering our own topics that interest us.
Yeah, we like probably fit a certain umbrella of like white liberal.
Yeah. we were explaining our idea to a friend of ours, Daniel.
Yeah.
And he said it sounds like a cliche Seattle podcast. And I don't know what he meant by that, but
I don't think he said the word cliche.
a Seattle podcast.
He didn't say cliche.
Yeah. Okay. I absorbed. I took it as cliche.
I hate that you said
I feel like
that
the
right
tone
now.
implied cliche.
Can't be pinned down. That's
Can't
the
be
thing.
pinned
It's
down.
this
We
is
don't
about
wanna be pinned
we
down.
do not want to be pinned down.
Yeah.
This is about talking about whatever.
That's the final. It says in our notes. Conclude with earnest hopes for the show.
Earnest hopes.
What are the earnest hopes?
Do you want me to answer that one
Yeah.
first? Oh, I do have a lot of earnest hopes for this
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that this is just a place to kind of, for both of us, I think we're looking for somewhere where we can kind of just be free to talk about whatever and not feel constricted or constrained or like that there's anything or anyone we have to please with what we're thinking. I don't know. I consider myself half the days an artist. And I feel like part of being an artist is like being, I don't know, a truth teller. And this is like, I don't know, it's kind of silly, this idea of a podcast, but I also think that there's something to be said that like we get to say our truths and like what we think of things, and that matters. And I think, I don't know, I'm excited for what this means of like having the freedom to be like, no, my thoughts matter and I can talk about it. And even if it's just for us or if it's for lots of listeners, like it's still truth being said because it's our truth and my truth. That's my hope.
If we were in like the high school youth group, that would get a lot of snaps. A lot of snaps for that one. Man, I really love what you just said. I love the idea of truth telling and having a platform for just saying what you want and reflecting on things that are meaningful to you. I think one of the things we've talked a lot about is this idea of just fun, like a place to have fun, a place to like explore things you're passionate about and just to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that there's the potential that your enjoyment of something, whether any of these things that we've said in the notes and all that, could give others permission to enjoy the things that they enjoy, and potentially spark a community of people that are as random, so to speak, as us, that just don't have like a filter or something that just makes sense in terms of their interests. It's like just scattered, and that's so great, and that's what makes everybody so interesting. So yeah, I think I like the idea of just like fun, interesting conversations that draw people in potentially, and then give people permission to do the same thing in their own lives.
Yeah, and I think like going off that, almost the idea that like we can talk about something and say something and like maybe someone will hear something and be like, oh, I'm glad they said that. I've been thinking that, you know? Like, I don't know. I think the more voices that we can hear, even just like normal people. We're normal people. We're like...
Speak for yourself.
Like, I don't know. And I think that...
Normal people.
We're normies. It's fine. I hate being a normie. I don't know. Like, I just think as a person who listens to podcasts constantly, I listen to a wide range of kinds of podcasts with like all different kinds of people. And I don't know, there's special moments where you hear someone share about an experience or about something they're interested in or something that they care about. And you're like, oh yeah, me too. Or like, I'm glad that was said, you know, because you know, now I feel like I have permission to say that or think that. But I don't know how healthy that is, but I don't know, putting it out there.
I think that's really healthy, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that seems healthy to me.
Who knows? Who knows what is and isn't? I have other hopes.
What are they?
I mean,
say them, please.
I feel like also a lot of these topics, I'm a little bit of a, and I think you're this way too, of like a evangelical when it comes to the things I'm interested in.
Ooh.
It's like if I like listen to a new album and I really like it, like I don't want to be the only one liking it. I want everyone around me to like want to listen, know about it, and care about it. And so this is just a way to get more people to like the things that I like. Or like at least in the sense of like if it's something I think, if I like encounter an artist or a topic or something that I like love, I want to share that. It's just part of who I am. So like, yeah, one of like Fiona Apple, I want everyone to hear about how freaking amazing Fiona Apple is. Everyone should know that.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it's like a different version of the popcast, because it's not limited to just pop culture.
It's anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just piggyback on that a little bit and say, like, I have a very weird relationship with recommending things to people. And I just realized this very profoundly with my own kids because I was really trying to get them into Kendrick. And it wasn't hard. Like, they got into it. And I remember you know, they'll say, "Oh, play this," when they get in the car, which is usually like top 40 stuff on the radio. And I was like, "Let's try Kendrick," you know. And I remember one day they got in the car and they're like, "Turn on Kendrick," and I was very cognizant of this feeling I had in myself of like, now that they're requesting that, I have to move on to another thing, you know. Like I have to like be getting people into something novel or different. And that's not a good thing necessarily. Like, I think, of course, we should be able to sit and enjoy Kendrick together in the car and not necessarily move on to the new thing. But I do feel like that's a role that I enjoy playing, is like exposing something to something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you experience, like, if you have an experience with art or something, like, you want others to enjoy that and you want to, like, bring them alongside that. I don't know. That's why, like, Steven Universe is such an important show for me, and like, A, you showed it to me and it was special. B, I watched it with Cora, who's the girl I nanny, and like, it's been so special watching that show with her and like the characters on there. I can't wait for us to have a Steven Universe episode. But like, there's something super amazing about getting behind something with someone else and like caring about it. And I think that's like what the appeal of fandoms is like, oh, we all have this one thing that we get behind and like we care about, and like we may disagree about certain parts of it, but like it's all centered around this like love of this one thing.
All of the different topics that we mentioned earlier in our list, I think are infinite. These topics lead to other topics, But if like you think about the idea of doing like an Enneagram episode, it's like one episode that could lead to 10 episodes.
Right.
Or a Steven Universe episode is, one episode that leads to many, many more Steven Universe episodes. And it's again like following your curiosity. And I can't imagine that you could only do one feminism episode. Like,
no, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, it's going to be like 15 episodes.
Yeah. And I don't want an Enneagram podcast or a feminism podcast or a Steven Universe podcast, but I like the idea that there's a platform to explore as far in depth as you want on that particular topic for as long as you want. Mm-hmm. So it could be a month of Steven Universe. It could be a month of Fiona Apple. It could be a month of isms, Mm-hmm. And then I know we also have this idea that we want to interview people that we think are really interesting.
That's true.
And that's also really exciting. So I think one of the mantras I have in my mind is this idea of like follow your curiosity.
Also, I think some of the things we want to talk about are important.
Yes.
Everything's important. I think
no small thing.
Even just the things that are like pop culture, I think are so important, and they have so much to. I don't know. We have so much to learn from it. Also, I would, to our listeners, encourage you.
Our two listeners
who are here.
And Daniel, maybe, who thinks we're Seattle cliches.
Like, one thing that I, as a podcast listener, really like learned and like love about podcasts is you kind of can listen in. This is something that you said a while ago that Matthew really likes that you said it. I was like listening in on cool conversations or something like that. And you kind of don't have to know always what people are talking about. Sometimes it's just fun to listen in on a different conversation or people who maybe are different than you are. So like, I don't know, welcome to our conversation. It's kind of like fun to have that kind of thing.
That's gold. I think we should end there.
Okay.
That's the end of this episode. Bye, everybody.